Paul and Silas, they're in the darkest room. They're in the darkest place. They're in the place of the most hopelessness, the most despair, the most discomfort. That's where they are. In the middle of that suffering, with their backs laid open after having been beaten before they were, because remember, they weren't just put in there. They beat the snot out of them before they put them in there. They beat them and they bloodied them up. They opened, it's bad. And then they put them in there. And then they locked them up in there. It's like, it's not enough to put me in a cell that's locked. You've also got to lock me to the wall inside the cell that has a lock, inside of the prison that is also locked. You're putting me in the deepest, darkest, and that's not enough. You've got to open up my back before then. You've got to beat me half to death before I even get in here. It is a place where there should be no hope. And yet in that place, they begin to pray, and then they begin to sing and praise. And here's how the story goes. Because it's pretty amazing. As you look at this in Acts 16 in the story, what you find is that as they begin to sing, Luke tells us this: the other prisoners were listening. Now, were some of them Christians? Maybe they were part of the ones that got rounded up. I guarantee you not all of them were. You don't just walk into a prison and assume everyone in there is a born-again Christian. That's not why you end up in prison that's not the only reason, at least. And yet it says that the prisoners that were in there were listening. They weren't watching because you can't see anything. It was too dark. So they were listening. And immediately after pointing out that the other prisoners were listening, then Luke says, and then came a great earthquake. Now, this is not a normal earthquake. I'll tell you right now, you can go through, you can say, I pointed it out. Maybe they traced out exactly where this earthquake happens, and it was just a natural phenomenon that was a coincidence. Let me tell you, this was not a normal earthquake. Pastor, how do you know it wasn't just, okay, because normal earthquakes don't unlock locks. That's how I know that. Because the cell doors opened up. The chains that were on them, that were locked, fell off of them. Earthquakes don't do that. Now, maybe they can open the door if you shake the foundations enough, but they don't unlock shackles on your arms. They don't drop chains off of. This was not a normal earthquake. This was something that happened here. What? God responded to the faith of his people. Why didn't it happen earlier? Maybe God waited for everyone else to be listening first. Why didn't God move when they began to pray? Because it says they prayed first and then they sang. Why not with the prayer first? Why? Because God was waiting, I think. He was waiting for the other prisoners there to begin listening. They had heard people pray in prison before, I guarantee you. I doubt they'd ever heard anyone singing praises to God while in the middle of it. And then, this is the weirdest part of the whole. I say weirdest, it's all kind of strange. Singing in prison is weird. An earthquake that opens locks is weird. But here's something else. The Bible does not say that the door to Paul and Silas's room opened. It does not say that the chains off of Paul and Silas fell off. It said all the doors opened and all the prisoners' chains fell off. All of them. And then the guy who's in charge of the prison, now knowing if any prisoner escapes under that law, he will be executed. And his whole family disgraced. And so he thinks, at least I can save my family something. He sees the doors open. He thinks they're all gone. And he gets ready to fall on his own sword. And before he does, he is stopped. And Paul shouts, hey, don't do that. We are all still here. Why in the world would they all still be there? Think about that. This is in the middle of prison. The doors have popped open. The chains are off. It's the middle of the night. You can run out and not be seen. You can escape. Why would they not escape? I'll tell you what I think. I think they did not leave because hope had entered the room before freedom ever did.